Welcome, jesters. As Zorhan Mamdani cruises to victory in the New York mayor's race, I think it is time for us to start reminding our friends on the left that New York really isn't that special. They have this attitude that New York is the center of the world for a number of things, and it's always going to be this way because New York. But no, not really. It really is just a big city. And once Mamdani, gets into power, I still maintain my recommendation that Republicans just get out of his way, give him everything he wants. He's already talked about having the ultra wealthy, share in whatever it is, which means higher taxes. And it seems that they seem to think that that's not going to make any difference, that the rich are just going to take it. Well, they're not. We've seen this for a very long time, and I think Mamdani is the one who's going to push them past the tipping point. There is going to be a significant acceleration in the exodus because people are just going to be like, okay, I just don't want to pay this. And what they don't realize is that there are other cities who can satisfy these people's, luxury lifestyle needs in terms of arts, culture, food, and travel, and everything like that. And, Miami is one of them, but there's others, there's Austin, places in the Carolinas, Wyoming is actually a surprising center of wealthy activity for a number of reasons. And the people of New York, the voters of New York, they don't seem to realize this. And I think it's because New Yorkers, people who have lived there for a long time, people who grow up there a long time, people who went there when they're very young, have this weird sense of worldliness about them that is unearned. And it's because New York is a big city, and it does draw a lot of tourists from all over the world. So they seem to think that because tourists come from all over the world and they meet these people, that makes them worldly. That means that they understand, the cultures and everything of the world. And no, you actually have to travel to do this. But, this transfers into their view of New York as a worldly cosmopolitan city when, no, it is in many ways just a tourist trap. And it's becoming less and less of a tourist trap to begin with. And Mamdani is just going to push this over the edge. We already have a phenomenon in Japan called Paris syndrome, where Japanese tourists go and they expect the Paris of the movies, and they get the Paris of today. Y'all know what I mean by that. And apparently, NYC shock is a similar phenomenon where people go and they expect Rudy Giuliani's New York, and they actually getting not Bloomberg, but the guy after him, his New York. And they're getting Mayor Adams' New York, and they're going to get Mamdani's New York, and they're not going to like it, right? I remember working in New York right after Rudy Giuliani. It was a great city. We could walk all hours of the night. Not that we did, but we could. And people just didn't worry about crime. People didn't worry about taking the subway. The subway was semi-functional, believe it or not. And it was just a nice place to be. But that's no longer the case. And they don't realize it. I said in another video that our friends on the left, they are becoming so accustomed to living in the dysfunction of these blue cities that they don't really know any better. And there are better. There's a lot of better cities. Again, even Miami. Here, people are like, oh, the arts. Oh, the arts. New York has the arts. Okay, sure. Well, we get all the traveling shows. Every show comes here, and you don't really need to see it more than once, let's be honest. We have Adrian Arsh. We have the Jackie Gleason. We have the Knight Center. Not anymore. It's about to be redeveloped. We have... that's right. If the preservationists could maybe get their act together and stop fighting the city over everything, we would have the Coconut Grove Theater again. And, let's just compare that to New York. Sure, you have the Kennedy Center, but if we look at what's been going on at the Kennedy Center recently, especially with moves that the Trump administration has made, what we learn is it's actually not about the arts. It's really not about the arts at all. It's more of a political statement to go to the Kennedy Center. It's a social statement to go to the Kennedy Center. So, yeah, the arts be damned, right? They do this to hobnob and network with their other wealthy socialites. So, yeah, I don't really want to hear about the arts and everything like that. And then there's, of course, finance. Yeah, of course, New York is a center of finance because of finance and trade because it's always been that way. You can thank the Dutch for that, but that's not guaranteed. It isn't. Look, Venice used to be a center of trade. Not anymore. Right, so just because it is now doesn't mean it's going to be in the future. And let's face it, what is New York most connected to? Europe. Europe is dying, or they're committing a slow suicide right now. So that's really not going to do them any good. What is Miami connected to? South America. Right? We actually have a lot of developing and stable democracies in South America, like Chile. Argentina is very much on the rise, and I'm sorry, friends on the left, they are. No matter what you say, they are. Then, once King Trump deals with the situation in Cuba and Venezuela, which they might, no regime change or anything like that, but I think Maduro's days are numbered, and the current regime in Cuba, I don't even know what it is because it doesn't really matter. I think their days are numbered, and once they fall, and the expats move back in, especially the Cubans and Venezuelans, and set up an actual, capitalist democracy, they are going to be back on the upswing. And who are all these countries connected to? Miami. Yes, Miami. So the center, the financial center of the hemisphere at least, will shift. That is almost guaranteed. So yeah, and it is not going to shift within New York. It's going to shift to Florida. That's already happening, by the way, but Citadel and all, but that's beside the point. And then, of course, our urbanist friends, our transit weenies, they carry on about transit and walkable cities and all this kind of stuff, and development, building housing. Okay, yeah, we actually do build housing here in Miami. Just go downtown. There's cranes everywhere, and rents they're affordable. They really are. You might not like how they are affordable, but they are, and we are building. And we actually do have free transit. The Metro Mover is free. The Miami Trolley is free. You do have to pay for Metro Rail, but it's actually, believe it or not, a not dysfunctional transit system. It is generally safe. It is generally clean. There is security at every station. And you just don't hear about issues on the train. We are a city. They happen, but not to the level of San Francisco or New York. And talk about walkable, car-free neighborhoods. Yeah, you can live in various places in downtown, especially Brickell, and not own a car, because you can get a lot of places. You can get everywhere you would probably want to go on a daily basis by the Metro Mover, by the Metro Rail, or by a bus to the beach or whatever, or just get a bicycle, because all those things are not that far. Metro Rail also goes to the airport. You have Brightline to Orlando for your weekend trips to the theme parks. So yeah. The walkable, car-free urbanist city, we kind of already have that because we're not totally dysfunctional. Yeah, imagine what you can do in an evil red state in now an evil red county, believe it or not. So, yeah, Mamdani, I hate to break it to you, friends on the left, New York is not that special. It will fail under his leadership, and we are so here for it. And I'm right.